Dubai is the city of gold. We thought, what if we have Dubai's first gold note? None of us even knew whether it's going to work because no one's done it.
You're selling it at 5 times the price.
It's first of its kind in the region. Never ever surprise your fiance with an engagement ring. The new generation is realizing I don't want to wear yellow 22 karat jewelry.
The richest men of India, a heavy percentage of them are Gujarati.
Ambani takes quite a lot of share for that. The best way that I found to stand out is to be transparent.
Why are Indians so obsessed behind gold? Welcome back to another episode of the Neet Bherwani Show. I stay in the UAE and especially Dubai. Dubai is one city which does things first. It built the largest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. It has the largest mall in the world, Dubai Mall, and it has many things which it does first. And I have one such entrepreneur who did the first thing in this particular nation by introducing this gold note. Because of this particular note, your following grew from 1,000 to where are you right now?
From 1,000 to it's around 80,000 right now on Instagram.
How did this idea come about?
It was just one fine day in 2021. One of my best friends from school was in Dubai and he came to me with this idea of a gold note, a note where you can actually encapsulate gold. And we just started brainstorming and we thought that what if we have Dubai's first gold note? And fast forward 2 years later, after a lot of discussions and research and development, I came out with a video in end of November promoting this note. And I thought that maybe it'll get like 10,000 views. It'll be a good day. Maybe we'll sell a couple hundred here and there and that'll be good. And next thing I know, it's around 30 million views. And overnight success, my followers, I used to have like 1,000 followers and it just took off from there.
You're in the gold souk. There are 300 other shops, but no one is selling this.
Correct, yeah.
This gold note, if I'm not wrong, has 0.1 grams of gold in it, correct?
Correct, 0.1.
What is the selling price of this note over here?
Currently, it's at 159 dirhams.
So you're selling it almost at 5 times the price for something that can, which other people, the closest thing they can sell is at 30 dirhams, right?
With this note, because we're using a patented technology to encapsulate the gold inside the note, there's a lot of things that go behind it, a lot of the processes that nobody is doing. It's first of its kind in the region,
right?
Is why the cost is so high. In fact, I can challenge anyone, bring me the same note for 30 or 40 dirhams. A lot of people in my comments have been telling me you can get it at a supermarket for 30 dirhams. I will give you this note for free if you can get me the same note for 30 dirhams because it's impossible.
It's impossible.
Those products, they don't capture the gold. You can't recover the gold. And it's not as flexible as the note that's in front of you. The note itself is also patented and the technology, the process behind involves a lot of intellectual property. The design is also has an IP as well.
How many notes was distributed in the market?
So initially, we came out with a video launching this in February with just 300 notes. Since then, we've just been running behind our supply because it just takes so long to actually make this. And it's worked in our favor because what's happened is that we never have enough. We had a big promotion for this and many people were covering us, Khalij Times, Time Out Dubai. And so a lot of people ended up coming to our store, but most of them didn't get the note. They could only place a pre-order. So we were left with thousands of pre-orders.
That's not a bad position to be in, right?
It's a good position. I mean, you're having sleepless nights because
you're trying to figure out how to deliver the order.
How can I get more right now when you know that it's going to take its time? So how do I keep people engaged?
When was 1,000 delivery? When did that happen?
So that just happened recently and that's also run out. So it takes some time. It's hard to say how long it takes, but it takes a few months at the least.
And customers are willing to wait, right? They're willing to wait for this one particular note that is unique and not available anywhere else.
Exactly. Because it's not available anywhere else, we've got big hotel chains calling us and they've been asking us, where can we get this note and what can we do?
I'm just seeing it. I see the Burj Khalifa. I see 24K gold mentioned over here. There are a lot of elements that went behind designing this. And this note took you 1 year to design. Am I right?
So the entire process took about a year and a bit because there's so many things in Dubai. You want to include everything, but it's only a two-sided note, right?
So what are the things you have included in this? Can you walk us through?
So we've got the skyline of Dubai. We've got all the prominent buildings. And we also wanted to have the camel, the desert, just to give it that vibe, the realistic picture of Dubai. The fact that your desert is just like 15 minutes away. You live in Marina, you can see the desert from your balcony. And that's basically it.
Gold has been there for centuries. What is this obsession with gold? Why are Indians obsessed?
Indians are obsessed because it's built in their culture. It's built in our culture. It's built in us to buy gold every month. You have a salary, you allocate a certain amount to gold. Why? Because it's a safe haven. It's always been a safe haven for us. So in the event that something happens, if you take COVID, for example, in the event that COVID happened, gold went up, everything else went down. Property went down, stocks also fell. So that's essentially it. That on your rainy day, on a bad day, your gold will still be there for you, and more likely than not, it'll keep appreciating. On average, in the last 20 years, gold has gone up by around 12%. So the numbers speak for themselves.
You mentioned that if you have a certain amount of savings, at least put in 20% of your savings towards gold. Why that specific number?
That specific number, because at the end of the day, you still have to diversify your portfolio. And for someone who isn't buying gold, 20% is a good starting point, so you don't have too much exposure. But today, if you ask me how much of your money is in gold, I'll tell you most of our money is in gold and property. More than property, most of our money is in gold. So if tomorrow gold has to halve, our net worth will also halve. But we have so much belief in gold that that's not going to happen. That's why we keep all our money in gold.
Why Indians want gold from Dubai? Why cannot buy it from their own country?
It's simple. See, the gold price here is around 11 to 12% lower than it is in India.
Right.
And on top of that, if you're buying jewelry, you get 5% back in Dubai, your VAT. You can get it refunded at the airport in Dubai versus the GST that you pay in India. So everything adds up. It becomes a lot more expensive in India, and it's a lot cheaper to buy gold and gold jewelry.
An Indian buying 10 grams from India versus an Indian buying 10 grams in Dubai. How much are they saving, like cost-wise? Exactly, 100% pure 10-gram gold.
You're saving at least 12% on just the gold. So that's going to be around 300 dirhams you're going to save just then. Okay. And then there's sales tax. I'm not too sure about the sales tax. It differs in every state, but it could be from around 11 to 18%.
11% plus the taxes.
Yeah, plus the taxes. Yeah.
Oh, that can amount to a significant. An Indian, by carrying gold from here to India, is basically recovering a flight ticket, right? Almost the cost of a flight ticket. Because say if I'm flying from here to Mumbai, if I'm pre-booking my tickets, it's going to cost me like 300 to 500 dirhams depending on my time. So just carrying that gold is, I think, a smart thing to do, definitely. What about the rest of the world? Is the rest of the world as obsessed about gold as India is?
I would say China is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, consumer of gold. So definitely a lot of Chinese people have the same sort of culture and believe in gold the same way. Rest of the world, there's so many NRIs that come to Dubai. So they also have this in them. Besides that, most of the people, the other tourists that come, just want to take it as a memento of Dubai, because Dubai is the city of gold. So if you're going to buy gold from anywhere, you might as well buy it from Dubai.
Many people surprise their significant other with an engagement ring. So they come to people like you, help me select a ring. How do they get the ring size right?
Never ever surprise your fiance with an engagement ring.
Okay.
Because they have been thinking about this design for God knows how long, and you're going to come with some crap design and you're going to think that this is the best thing in the world. And when they see it, they're going to be in shock initially, but then you're going to return it and get something that they want.
You see, returns happen a lot in these cases.
People have become more wise, so it doesn't happen as much maybe anymore. But I would say that if you're planning to surprise them, at least ask their best friend or their sister or someone else that knows their taste.
Right.
And don't think for yourself. We have clients that they take their fiance's ring sometimes when she's not wearing it. So that happens. And if they're not wearing a ring, then we just have to estimate. But the best thing is that you can adjust the size after you've bought it.
Okay.
It's better to go a size above what you think, and you can always adjust the size.
Adjust it later on. What if someone buys a ring just for an event? Or a necklace just for an event from you, and then they come back to you and be like, hey, I don't like this, I want to return it.
We have a return policy and a 15-day return and exchange policy. And fortunately, it doesn't happen with us too much because we've safeguarded ourselves by having certain terms and conditions in place. And on top of that, we have tags, for instance. So we have RFID tags that are irreplaceable. They're such unique tags that once they're broken, it's impossible to keep back. They're almost like tamper-free tags.
To wear it, they have to remove the tag, right? Or else it'll be visible. That's smart. That's very smart. Gold is something which, if I have a lot of gold and it's physically in my house, that's risky. Versus buying something like online gold. A lot of people are buying online gold Tell us the difference.
Digital gold is basically buying gold online and you don't have to hold it. You don't have to physically hold it. It's electronically traded. So the day you want to sell, you just click a button on your phone and it's sold. Versus the traditional way of buying and keeping gold at home. I would say that in general, when it comes to buying gold and keeping it at home, we're so fortunate to have customers that keep the money with us and keep the gold with us because they don't want to keep it at home. And that links into the whole trust aspect that people are willing to keep their money and their gold that they've invested in with us. They feel that maybe I don't have a safe at home, or maybe my safe isn't big enough, or maybe the area that I live in isn't okay, I don't trust my maid. So what they do is they tell me that, okay, you keep the gold with you. Now we have the facility, we have the insurance to hold a large amount of gold. We've got a vault in which we can store a lot of gold and all of it's insured. So that's why people are ready, and they also trust us. So that's why people are ready to keep their money and their gold with us. So tomorrow, even if they're traveling, a lot of our good customers will just give us a bag of their jewelry and they'll just ask us to keep it.
What's the percentage of people who are buying in store versus online?
Currently, most of the people buy in store, but it also depends on what kind of consumers you're targeting. If you see in the US, most people are buying online today. If you go and you want to buy an engagement ring, most of the people are buying online. Very few people are buying in store. This market will change as well, but it just depends on who you're serving. The biggest mistake I made with our e-commerce platform was I was targeting Indians. Living in Dubai, the average age of an Indian expat is probably into their 40s. They're not going to buy online. And so we quickly changed our strategy to target people who are younger, to target people who are in their 20s or 30s who actually buy things online and will actually wear something that is minimal.
This particular gold note is minimal, right? Easily carried around. But gold and stuff can become too much excessive as well. In certain shops in the gold souk, there are like heavy dresses with a lot of gold and stuff on that stuff, which becomes difficult to wear. The trend is going towards more minimalism. What's the trend heading like?
The new generation is realizing that if I'm actually going to wear jewelry, I don't want to wear yellow 22 karat jewelry. I'm not going to wear that every day. They prefer 18 karat jewelry, and that's exactly what we are doing online. We are trying to expand that front so that people who actually want to wear the jewelry wear it. And if you want to invest in gold, then you buy the gold bars. That's it.
The richest men of India, I think a heavy percentage of them are Gujarati.
Ambani takes quite a lot of share for that.
What qualities do they possess that make them the richest?
We as Gujaratis are always thinking of business. Anytime, even if you're on holiday, being Gujarati, whichever place you go to in the world, you'll always be calculating. You'll be calculating their revenue, that's in their turnover, their profits and everything. So I was actually in Florence last year with my girlfriend, and we were standing in line for this really famous sandwich shop, and the wait can be from an hour to 2 hours. Immediately, it kicks in. It's an instinct. I start calculating how much turnover is he doing every day, what are his margins, how much is he making in a year? Not because we care that how much is he actually making in a year, but it's the curiosity that comes from being in a family business, from a line of businessmen, from a generation of businessmen. These are the things that you think of all the time.
How did these qualities inculcate? Like when you were going out as a kid, did your dad do all these calculations in front of you? Like what are the things passed down to you as a fifth generation entrepreneur?
I wouldn't say that my dad did it when we were younger, but as I grew up, I also, my interest in our business increased. And so we started doing that. But I would say the most important thing that has been passed down in these last 5 generations is the experience and the knowledge that has come with that experience. We have been taught how to handle setbacks. We have been taught that when things don't go your way, how do you control your losses? How do you do something different? How do you differentiate yourself? How do you create a unique product? How do you sell that product? So I think the key is the knowledge aspect of learning in the last 5 generations.
What appetite of risk do you have? And like, tell us some of your riskiest decisions which have had a great impact in business.
From our family, I am a lot more risk loving than a lot of the people because we come from a very traditional family. And for the right reasons, I think it's a good thing that we have that balance. But for instance, a real big risk for us was to start opening new outlets in different places. Another thing was this note to invest the amount of money and time to make this note, and none of us even knew whether it's going to work because no one's done it. So we were ready to make a loss, but knowing that we did try something different.
It's paid off. You've sold out. You had people in wait list for this particular thing. And how are the stores doing? How many stores do you have in total right now?
You have our main store in the Gold Souk, and otherwise we are selling online or through our e-commerce platform. We have a few offices that we sell through as well.
How did your company go about building that trust where customers are willing to pay you that 1 million, 5 million, whatever you're charging for your products? Like, how did it go about establishing?
When anyone sees our name in the Gold Souk Shantilal, immediately they're like, Gujarati family, sounds like very old, we can trust them. Second thing, it says 1969, and that's when we established in the UAE.
Wow.
So that's before the UAE was formed. So I often tell people that if you can trust the banks here that came after us, you can definitely trust us.
1969. That's when your company was established, right? So
UAE.
we are looking at more than 50 years.
54, yeah.
54 exact years.
It'll be 55 soon.
Oh, mashallah, that's amazing. And your granddad never meant to come to the UAE, but now you have one of the biggest businesses in gold over here. How did that happen?
He was in Gujarat at the time, and he was looking to get out of Gujarat because there was no business there. He went to the nearest port at the time, which was in Karachi, and he was planning to come to East Africa and specifically Zanzibar. And then he met one of his relatives, classic. He meets one of his relatives, and that guy convinces him to come to Dubai, to come to the GCC. So it was basically a moment where it was Habibi come to Dubai before Dubai was even here, right? Yeah, that's how it happened. He sat with him on the boat and got here.
Now you're a 5th generation entrepreneur. The first generation started its business in India.
India, correct.
In India, that's how learning happened. And then your granddad came and set up business over here, correct?
Yeah.
What is the difference between the way each generation was doing business? I want you to take us from the first generation, second, to what you're doing right now.
Initially, it was more about serving people that were physically present. And so even our jewelry in the Gold Souk was very different. And it was all about the idea of keep the stock here and they will come, because there weren't many people to begin with. With us, there were just a couple people right next to us. So instead of having 380, you just had a handful. So there was always more demand than there was supply back then. Now in today's world, there's 380 stores in the Gold Souk. Everyone has more than enough supply. Everyone is doing the same exact thing. So how do you stand out? And that's why we've looked at many ways to stand out, whether it's bringing a unique product or marketing ourselves in a different way. Or the best way that I found to stand out is to share information with the people. Be transparent. Teach them about the business. Teach them about jewelry. And gain their trust that way. If you can teach them and if you can share knowledge that they don't have, they will trust you and come to you. So that's what we have been doing now.
Sometimes when consumers enter the shop, they think they know what to buy, but they don't know what to buy.
One of the first things that I learned, and one of the first things that anyone who joins our family business gets taught, is to know whether a customer is going to buy or not. From the moment they enter the store, you should be able to tell, is this guy going to buy or not? If you have that in you, you've won half the deal.
How can you say if someone enters the gold shop is going to actually end up buying gold? Tell me 3 things that you observe.
It's like playing poker. There's so many tells. You're looking at where his eyes are going, what he's wearing, how he's moving around the store, what kind of questions is he asking. When a lot of people ask us, what's the rate today? Now in Dubai, every store has the rate. So you know what the rate is today, right, but you're just coming to ask questions. So then we know that this is not a serious buyer.
Serious buyer. Okay, and what are the qualities of a serious buyer? Like, tell us about the sales and how do they behave differently from this?
Serious buyers come generally in a family. They are looking for something specific, but often what happens is they are looking for something and they think they want that, but then we show them 3 other options and they want that. And that's how we close the deal, because we know that they are not sure on what they want, and our job is to guide them to get them to where they want.
I want you to be honest and candid. I want to know some of your sales strategies, because at the end, sales is the most important thing for a business. If there are no sales, every business dies, right?
If you are sharing information with them that they don't already know, immediately they are going to trust you. So that is another thing we do. We try and be as transparent as possible, because honestly, it's the most underrated skill. You be truthful to the person. More often than not, they'll respond, and they will, even if they leave your store, they're going to think that, yeah, but that guy taught me this. And more often than not, they'll come back.
By honesty, you mean if someone is trying on something and if it doesn't look good on them, you're like, hey, listen, this does not look good. I think something else would look good.
If someone tells me that I'm buying this for my daughter is 10 years old, but it's a set that's way too big. It's a set that's way too flashy, or it's got a lot of diamonds on it, it's got a lot of gold on it. You know it's not going to suit that person. So you suggest them something that you'll make less from, but you know that this is the right thing. This is what they actually want and need.
You mentioned that one of the biggest things that scares you as a person in the gold business is if someone comes up to you holding a gun, asking you to give you all the money.
Because you see it happen around the world all the time. The US, it happens all the time. We've seen so many stores in the US overnight get robbed. A lot of them don't have full insurance, so a lot of their money actually disappears and goes away. I'm very grateful that we are in Dubai. We are in such a safe city, and in the country of the United Arab Emirates. In fact, as a coincidence, I had a dream last night that I was actually in London and my watch got stolen off from me. And all of a sudden I wake up, I'm like, thank God I'm in Dubai.
I think the government has put in such initiatives. I think even they have 15,000 plus cameras monitoring, surveilling and taking care of things. So are you telling me there have been no incidents in the gold souk in the number of years it's been here?
Incidences definitely happen.
What kind of incidents have happened?
Shoplifting can happen, and it has happened in the past. But the security is so good that they can see exactly which item was taken away. Even the cameras in our store, you can zoom in to the barcode, so we know exactly which piece is missing, how it happened, and everything is tracked.
So you have the proper caught in 4K, right? Like when they say...
Exactly. And what happens is the moment you leave any store in the gold souk, there is, in that radius, there's just so much security, so much coverage, so much police. You have nowhere to run.
What if your own team members, like, because it's happened to my dad, my dad, his partner cheated with him on his business. Right? He was secretly siphoning money away from the business, and it happened by people who you trust. How do you keep your business safe from the own people working with you?
The key is to treat your people as family. I think that if you treat them the right way, if you respect them, and if you give them a safe workspace in which they are also able to grow, the incentive for them to stay versus the incentive for them to run away with some gold, with some earrings or a small amount is not big enough. And more than that, if they have a platform to grow, then they're not going to go anywhere. They're going to stay with you. So I would say that treat them as family, help them grow with you. Don't be the only one that wants to make money. Right. As my dad's always told me that you make money and you help others make money, and that's how everyone's going to grow. Everyone's going to grow together. Our competition is not our competition. We are happy if they grow, and we look to grow ourselves as well.
Many entrepreneurs actually have come up and saying that, hey, stop using the word family. In fact, say that we are like a sports team. We are a sports team where everyone has to perform.
When it comes to jewelry, when it comes to gold, your store you have millions in inventory. You have to think about that as well. You're not running a consultancy business where if tomorrow someone leaves, they can only take the information. They can take things physically as well, which is why one of the biggest things is to employ in a smart way in the first place. Our employment process takes a long time because whoever we're onboarding, we have to trust them in and out. So I think the key is when you're hiring them, you need to trust them. You need to go through an elaborate process. And before letting them go, you need to always ensure that you're on good terms with them. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. And even as a human, we don't want to have bad blood with anyone. We want to ensure that they're leaving, and if they're leaving, they have a better opportunity somewhere else. And we're happy for that.
How do you find employees who are trustworthy?
What's been working is that we try and look for people who are not too money-minded. Because when we see someone running after money, that's when we know that even a little increase in salary, they're going to go and leave to the next best option.
Right.
We look for people that are one, honest, and two, that work hard and want to grow the business, and not just for personal gain, and that they understand that we are there to help them grow. So that's essentially it. We always, first thing we judge is whether they're running after the money or they're running after business.
Thank you so much for sharing all your insights. It's been amazing, how you're actually a pioneer in this. Being a fifth generation entrepreneur, you have successfully learned what your previous generations have taught you. Now, where are you going to take this business further? What is upcoming?
We've been getting asked all the time about an investment opportunity, that how can this gold note souvenir be an investment? This current gold note souvenir is just 0.1 grams, is just 159 dirhams. It's not an investment.
But that's a decision you chose to make, right? You chose to make it because of the price point. You wanted,
correct. Being in a city where we are blessed with so many tourists, with 16 million last year, we wanted to make this as a token for them to take home. Anyone essentially investing in gold, we have a new concept that we're going to come out with, which is the first investment note in the region, which will have 1 gram of gold in each note. And that will actually be an investment. So the gold will be more than the cost to make the note. So it will actually appreciate over time.
How much does it cost to buy a 1 gram of gold right now?
At the moment, 1 gram costs around
270.
around 278 dirhams.
So what's the price point you're looking at for this particular gold version?
We're still working on it, which is why we haven't come out with all the news yet. But as soon as we know, we'll definitely be announcing it. And what we can tell you is that it is going to be as affordable as buying a 1 gram gold bar.
Oh, perfect. Where do you see this industry headed in the future, Rahul? And what do you see your kids? How do you see them taking this business forward?
Well, I'm 26, I'm still young, so I'm not thinking about my kids, but I think that the industry is going in a good direction. Finally, things are changing, man. Like, we come from a very traditional industry. People still don't have POS machines in their shops, so they're still just accepting cash. So I think it's going in a good space, and I strive to be someone that is trying to bring change to our industry, and I hope people follow soon. But I think there's so much opportunity in our industry. If you are someone that has a family business similar to mine, get into your family business, man. There's no job out there that's going to be better for you than your own family business. I see things this way. When you're working a job, okay, you are working most of the times 5 days a week. On the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you're the king. When you're working for yourself, you're working every day. But I'm going to tell you, you actually have the opportunity to be a king 7 days a week. Right. So that's how I see things.
Thank you so much for being here, Rahul.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you, brother.